Gail Daly.
My name is Gail Daly. I live in the Historic District in a house that's, 1891 for 25 years, and before that was a renter. Lived there a total of 38 years. I carefully read through the planning team report, and Jessica did a great job on it with the information she had. But I found that many of the areas were confusing. After talking to many neighbors and business owners, I believe this is so because the team did not speak to any of them. Indeed, the team never came to Mendocino to gather information, even to see what their report was about. There was no public notice of this report, no town meetings. Instead, they used data that is faulty, far out of date, and then apparently analyzed it incorrectly, as some of the results they came up with are more than questionable. Why did they not use the CAC of 1999? Well, I found today that they did. I hadn't been aware of that. This update was done, the 1999 update was done by a group of business people and neighbors, very diverse, over many months of public, very well-attended meetings. As you all know, you on the board, it sat on Ray Hall's desk until he left. Going back to the town plan, done in 1989, almost 20 years out of date, is not productive. Much has changed since then, and in fact, much has changed since '99. And we do need a new town plan update. Allison is quite correct. Using all that data is really archaeological work. The conclusion here is that you must not use this data to update our town plan. I ask you to appoint another CAC from Mendocino, made up, as the last one was, with people from all areas of the town, and not use our tax money to hire experts who never leave Ukiah. The CAC would conduct a survey to get accurate data in the town. I think you need that. My second point is my biggest concern, our quality of life in Mendocino. In the team's data, there's no mention of the large number of houses and apartments that were once homes to full-time residents, but are now either commercial space or owned by people who use them only occasionally. This is a new phenomenon for our community. I dare say there were few houses in the historic district that were occupied on a sometime basis when the original inventories were done. The fact that there are so many now that stand empty most of the year has an impact on the town character. Where are the neighbors? Even though there are fewer VHRs, we still do not have the real neighborhoods we desire. By the way, it was the will of the people of Mendocino that VHRs be phased out. That's the vacation home rentals. This last will be hard for you to address, but it does need to be included in the data. Please do not approve this flawed report. Please instead appoint a new CAC. Please listen to those of us who live and work in Mendocino. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Is there anybody else in the public who'd like to speak? Sure. Or I think Barbara stood up first. Go ahead. When you come to the podium, please state your name. Go ahead. Sure.
I'm Mary Weaver, and I'm a real estate agent in Mendocino, in the town. And I found out yesterday that you can't get a color map, you can't make a copy of a color map in Fort Bragg at the copy place. But this is a map that was done by a group of citizens in response to Jessica's report, which I thought was fabulous, but we've all agreed that it's inaccurate. This is actually a boots-on-the-ground survey that was done by a group of citizens over the past 2 weeks. And it's color-coded. Dark green is a owner-occupied residence, light green is a summer home, red is a vacation home, tan is a B&B, and pink is a commercial building. And I'm going to give that to Jessica to use. In the binders that you all have, each address of each parcel is identified and who lives in it and what they do in there. Sort of, kind of. Anyway, that's for you. And then the blue is the long-term residence. And there's not very much blue on that map, but this is the map from 1989 where there was a lot of blue, a lot of long-term residences. Most of these are gone. In 1989, there were 139 long-term residences. Today, there's only 44. So I think the first thing I'd like to say is that this shouldn't have been heard by you today. This should have gone to a committee or a CAC to gather the data. We've gathered the same data that Jessica's gathered with different results. And I try
Supervisor
to
Delboy,
make, you don't want a whole bunch of numbers probably, but we'll go back to the CAC of 89, 92, 2000, and 2001 all said vacation home rentals should be phased out by attrition in residential areas. So why are we kicking what I call this dead horse? This issue's been brought up many, many times. Everyone's always agreed they should be phased out. So why bother the confusion of trying to figure out were there 46 houses or were there 53 houses? The mapping error only had to do with McCroskey's Inn. That's what the mapping error was. It had nothing to do with vacation rental houses. It had to do with him getting